What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. A couple days ago I picked up the Nintendo Switch sports game. I figured as much as myself and my kids love the Wii sports game, we're absolutely going to love the Switch sports game. And it's about an 80-20. I hope they include boxing as a DLC. I will definitely buy it because that is what I was looking forward to the most. Sadly, they did not have it. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about, after 6 years of faithful servitude, my original run Switch Joy-Cons, the red and the blue one, have finally started showing their age with some significant drift. And if you calibrate them, you can see that they all pull to the left really bad. And it's gotten to the point where you can't select options on the screen or characters or do anything because it's just constantly trying to pull you to the left. So I looked up how to fix them, quick fixes, blah, blah, blah. And I determined that, you know what, I just need to replace the joysticks and that'll fix everything. So I went onto Amazon and I got a cheap set of joysticks and tools. It was all bundled together and it was, I think, $11 total, which is pretty impressive. But the reviews and some videos I watched showed that it was clearly the way to go. So I'm going to take you along today as I replace the joysticks in my Joy-Cons. I've never done this before. I've done other work like this before, but never on the Joy-Cons. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you learn something. That way you know how to combat that evil menace of drift in the future. Enjoy the video. So we're going to start by testing the calibration as it stands before we fix it. And you can see I'm trying to push to the right, but it is automatically pushing me back to the left with all of my options. Very frustrating when you're trying to select something. Now the reason why I let it go this long is because usually I use a controller and not the Joy-Cons. I always keep them docked. Only my kids really use those nowadays. That's why it took forever for me to realize that. And we're going to go to the calibration screen, and I'll show you how bad it drifts. If the dummy doing the video can get it right. There you go. All right. So we're still trying to get down, and it's still fighting me. You can see it jumps back to the left as quick as it can. All right, there we go. We're able to test the control sticks. Now I let it center in the right, or sorry, I put it in the center, and you can see how quickly it drifts to the left. That's terrible. Look how fast. Boom. Imagine a racing game where you're using the Joy-Cons and you're just constantly hugging the wall. It's atrocious, but it is what it is. We're not going to calibrate it. We're going to try this little calibration control stick, and even then, you can't do anything with it. You can't do a circle because it just wants to pull to the left. There you go. Worst drift ever. So hopefully we can get this fixed. So here's the kit I ordered from Amazon. Deluxe computer cable. I don't know why it says that. Anyway, I will leave a link to this kit in my description. It's a very basic, generic kit that you get when you order a kit to replace the screen on your phone, stuff like that. We'll open it up and I'll show you what all is in that kit. And I'd probably say I used maybe 3 actual pieces, but it's good to have the rest. So there you go. All that for $11. That's a pretty good kit in all reality. You get some pretty cool stuff. You start with a brush. That brush is pretty good for getting dust off or getting just dusting down boards, stuff like that. You get these needle nose tweezers. They are good. I have multiple pairs of them. You really want to grind down the tips. They work better that way. You get a spudging tools, 2 types of spudging tools or pry tools. You get some screws, some machine screws. I didn't need them because I wasn't missing any, but they're always good to have on backup. 3 sets of colored caps for your joysticks. Now I have black caps on my joysticks currently, but I think I'm going to use the opposite color on the joysticks to have them pop a bit when I'm done. This is which one's this one? This is the 2.0 Tri-Wing it comes with. That's right. And then it also comes with a 2.0 Phillips. Now I never used this Tri-Wing, the one I'm holding right now, at all. It comes with a smaller Tri-Wing screwdriver, the black one, and that's the one that I used the whole time. But those are them right there. and it's always good viewing when I take it off of camera. Oh well. And then, of course, last but not least, you have the actual joysticks themselves. There you go. Pretty simple. They got one ribbon cable, relatively easy to install. But that is the kit. Like I said, I think I used 3 pieces and I was done with it. Let's get this thing taken apart and start the show. Hey, what's going on, guys? Just going to cut in here real quick. For all you eagle-eyed viewers, you may notice that the Joy-Con went from red to blue. And what happened was, after I got done fixing the red one, I went back and looked at the footage. And unfortunately, it was really hard to see what I was doing. My hands were in the way, and the camera was too far back, and it just didn't make for good film. So I busted out my microscope and got that going for the fix of the blue one. There's very little differences between the red and the blue. There's one small little minor detail difference, and I explained that in this video. But that's essentially what happened. That way I figured you guys could actually see what I was talking about and not just make a bunch of wild guesses. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. First off, you have 4 of the tri-wing screws on the back that you need to remove. So we will remove those right now. All right, all 4 screws are out. We're going to take the spudging tool and we're going to pry out the case. Right there, there are 2 ribbon cables on that rail side. Be very careful, don't tear them. So what you want to do is you want to pry it open and then hinge it on the rail side so you don't hurt those cables. There you go. Take your time. There's nothing really holding it together, but you can break some stuff if you're aggressive. So just slowly work it back and forth. And you can see those 2 cables right there. Want to keep those intact. You do not want to have to replace those. Get this under the microscope so you can see some screw heads. You can get some Phillips screws. There you go. Good job, buddy. So there's one that is holding the battery compartment down that you can see. Once you get that one off, you have to pull the battery out to expose the other 2 screws. For those who've never seen a screwdriver, there it is. All right, so that's out. We're going to pull the battery out with the spudging tool. You'll see there's some tape on the battery, and it makes it feel like it's kind of stuck in place, but it's not. You just have to gently pull it out, and that tape comes right off. There it is right there. All right, so there are 4 screws underneath that battery. There's 2 silver and 2 gold. And the 2 gold are the ones you want. Take them out. The 2 silver, they pass through that battery compartment, and it's not necessary to take them out. They hold the board down. And you can see right there, that's a silver one that passes through the board itself. So you just want these 2 diagonal gold ones to be removed. Once you have those apart, you can pull up the battery compartment, but remember there is a ribbon cable on the trigger button. You can see me kind of dancing with it right there. It's right there. Do not pull that out. Now on the red controller, that ribbon cable is right next to the joystick cable, and it's a pain in the butt. You have to be very, very careful when you're pulling out the battery little holder, because it'll pull that shoulder ribbon cable out quickly, and you do not want to do that. It won't destroy it, but it is a pain in the butt to get it back into place. So in my opinion, the blue controller that I have in my hand, or that would be the equivalent of the left side, I believe, is the easier one to replace. So there are 2 screws holding down the joystick. I just took one out, but this second screw is being covered by this ribbon cable right here. So there's a silver screw holding down that little daughter board, and you're going to pull that one off, pry up that little connector, and that will expose the second joystick screw. Now I'm using the needle nose tweezers to pull up the screws while somebody is aggressively texting me. And normally I would tell you not to do that because those needle nose screws, or the needle nose tweezers, are damaging to the ribbon cable. But in a pinch you can use them and they will not do damage as long as you are very, very slow and mindful of what you're doing. So we got that second one exposed. So both of these Joy-Cons can be done without taking everything completely apart. You just have to finagle a little bit. Here we're going to open up that latch, which allows us to pull out the ribbon cable for the joystick. Yeah, it doesn't help when you have fat fingers. So those tweezers and the spudging tool come in really handy. But the good thing is, with the way it's positioned, you can just push down and the top of the joystick will push the joystick out of place, and it's a lot easier to do that. Alright, I just pulled out the ribbon cable, and I'm going to pull the body out. There you go. That's it right there. That's one of the dynamic duo that are causing such a trouble. Now we're going to bust out the last joystick, get that back into place. We want to screw it down, but we have to be very careful of that ribbon cable that is covering the second screw hole. If you listen very carefully, you can hear my daughter in the background getting mad at the new bowling game for the Switch Sports because, you know, obviously it cheats. I've taught her well. Alright, so you see the ribbon cable is in between the joystick and the screw hole. So we're going to try to manipulate that and push it out of the way. Don't want to be too aggressive because you don't want to damage that ribbon. Come on now. There you go. Good job. And realistically, before you pull the ribbon out of that place, you just want to put that screw in there to hold it down, and then you can position that board again, and everything will be copacetic. All right, got that screw into place. Let's give it an old screw. Yep, my first time using a screwdriver, apparently. I'll tell you what, this microscope I think cost me $25 from Amazon. It's a cheap no-name microscope with a USB plug. You just plug it in, and it has saved me so much time and hassle than having to use a magnifying glass and a light source and all the other madness. This microscope comes with its own light source. In fact, I will leave a link to it in the description as well. But it has been a serious game changer for all these really tiny, tiny components. We want to put that silver screw right back in. Get that board battened down. We are almost done. I'm very excited to see if I know what I'm doing or if I just got taken and some random person has $11 of mine. Now on that board there's a little notch you have to get in place. I kind of over tightened, so I have to correct it, and I'll show you in a second as I pan out where the notch sits on the board. As long as that is in place, you are good to go. I like doing these repair videos. I've repaired a lot of stuff, but I've never really filmed it. This is probably the first actual repair video I've filmed because I'm always, it takes a lot longer than I think it should, and I second guess myself a lot, but I get it done. If you guys are interested in seeing these kind of repairs, probably mainly going to be systems and games, let me know. Leave a comment, and we might jump on that. It won't be the most exciting thing in your life, but it will definitely kill some time. All right, we're going to get that second screw back into place, and effectively you are done with the repair. So we're going to put the battery compartment back on. Nope, I'm full of crap. We actually have to put that ribbon cable in. Do not forget that. So that's a fresh ribbon cable. It's very stiff. You got to kind of get it to bend. As you see, I use my tweezers, and then I finally end up using the spudging tool to get it into place. And they're so particular where they need to be that you can't rough it. You just got to finesse it. Not quite. It wants to be free. We got the Dobby of ribbon cables. It needs to be free. I think I got it, and then I'm proven wrong. Come on now. There we go. Finally we get it. And then you just gotta, yeah, I wouldn't suggest that. It's kind of dumb. Might put a hole in that ribbon cable with those needle nose tweezers. So you get your spudging tool. It's got a little crooked end, and it works perfect to drag it. You just kind of make sure your latch is up, and then you drag it back into place. And once you feel confident, you push your latch down, and you're good to go. All right. A success in my book. I'm going to put the compartment back on, and then put the 2 screws in there. Put the battery back in. I got that final screw to put on, and we're almost ready. Let me resize this window in a little bit. Watch out for that ribbon cable. It's supposed to pass through there, but just don't pinch it. There's Goldie. Goldie number 1. And Goldie number 2. Put the battery back on. Let me resize this window so you can see a better view of what I'm doing. There you go. Good job, Ben. Thank you, Ben. Battery's back in play. Push down the tape. Pick up that screw that tried to hide. All right. That's all good. So now we put that shell back together, and we add those 4 tri-wing screws we took out at the very beginning, and we're good to go. And there it is, the finished product. Looks the same. There's no extra parts sitting around. Check the gaps. That's how you know how tight you want it. Don't over tighten them. Just tighten until there's no more gaps. That's it. Let's get it hooked up and see what it does. All right, let's see what we did. Good or bad, we were able to fix it. So right off the bat, I can go to the right and it's not pulling. That's me going right and left. That is a very good sign. We're going to go to the calibration and see where these sticks lie. Let sleeping sticks lie. That's what I always say. Okay, Start with the right one. Man, look at that. Perfect. Right in the middle. It doesn't want to creep at all. Absolutely perfect. I can do a full circle. It goes right back to the middle. Now we're going to go to the left one, the blue one. And it always comes back to the middle and stays. That is a success in my book. I am extremely happy with that. Nothing was broken. Everything is working correctly. We're even going to test the buttons. Always test the buttons. Make sure you didn't do anything wrong. Buttons are working on that side. On the red, that's good. We'll test the blue. Make sure they all correspond correctly. There you go. Everything was hooked up correctly. And there you go. That's a perfect fix. I can go to the right, select games, and it's not trying to force me back to the left. I'm very happy. This was $11 well spent. All right. So there you go. $11 later, and the problem has been fixed, which is amazing because usually I break stuff. I don't fix stuff. But what do you guys think? Did I do a good job? Could I have done a better job? Was there a different method that I didn't know about? Could you suggest a better set of parts in the future? Leave me a comment. If you guys like the video, leave it a like, leave it a share, subscribe, all that great stuff. Give yourself a chance to play some video games this weekend. I would suggest picking up the Nintendo Switch Sports if you liked the Wii Sports. It's still pretty dang good. But any video game will do. Take some time, relax, play some Pac-Man or whatever you want. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be good people, be good to those around you, and as always, keep on gaming.